Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, one of the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. With me today is Erik Johansson. Erik is a teacher with us at LSAT Demon. We have an email here from Anonymous.
Anonymous writes, "Hi, I'm applying to law schools for this year's admissions cycle, and I am contemplating if I should write a diversity statement as a non-URM applicant. I'm applying as a KJD student with a 169 LSAT score and 4.0 GPA. I believe my resume and personal statement highlight the depths of my undergrad experience, which include two on-campus jobs and leadership roles and involvement in on-campus organizations. I am unsure that I have anything of interest to elaborate upon in a diversity statement, especially since I do not want the essay to sound forced. Would it hurt my application to forego the diversity statement? Thank you, Anonymous."
You haven't given us any reason to suggest that you should write a diversity statement. Diversity statement's an optional essay. If you don't have anything useful to say, it's going to make your application worse by, distracting them from the good things about your application, which hopefully are in your personal statement. You also might show bad judgment by trying to force in, you're like wasting their time, you're annoying them. You're not advocating for yourself very well if you don't have something really useful to say about how your experience in life is different from other people who are coming to campus. So if you don't think you've got anything interesting to say, I would just say it's an optional essay. Don't do it.
Yeah. Was it Hemingway who said that one of the most important skill for a writer is you just have to have a really finely tuned bullshit detector, because you have to sniff out the bullshit in your own writing and cut that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it takes. If you're going to write this, be honest with yourself. Does it sound like bullshit when you write it?
Yeah.
And
Someone else said
sorry.
No, go.
Yeah, just because the admissions officers they also have finely tuned bullshit detectors because they read thousands of these every year.
Oh, yeah. No, they have to be just hyper sensitized to the bullshit. And, they just glance at it. It looks like bullshit. They just paid it's next page. But, you do too much of that and now you're going to be an irritation to them, which is not going to be a feather in your cap at all. It similar to your purported Hemingway quote, there was another author, I won't even try to say who it is because I don't know, but who said that you have to kill your darlings. That was a key of being a good writer, is that you have to understand that you're going to be in love with everything you write. And then you have to go through and murder 90% of everything that you wrote because it is bullshit. So if you can't even get a draft going of a diversity statement, you don't think you have anything, that is different or interesting to answer that optional question, then just don't. Last thing I would say to Anonymous is 169 LSAT, really?
I was waiting for this.
I don't know. I mean, 4.0 GPA, and you didn't talk about, you started talking about your on-campus jobs, don't care. Leadership roles, yeah, okay, fine. I don't know. You're okay through JD. How much could you really have done when you were on campus? Involvement in on-campus organizations, focusing on these extracurriculars. Who gives a shit? If you're competing with someone else who has a 173 and a 4.0 and no extracurriculars whatsoever, you are at a disadvantage against that applicant. So I just want to know whether 169 was really your best shot, because if that was your first or second or third attempt, if you had practice test scores that were in the 170s and you didn't keep taking the LSAT because you thought, hey, I got a 4.0 and I had all this internships and on-campus jobs and stuff, and my softs are really good. Yeah, but your LSAT it's good. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the 90-something percentile. It's good, but it's kind of making that 4.0 a little sad.
And with the 4.0, you should be knocking on the door of top schools.
You could.
169 ain't doing it.
169 is not going to cut it at, top 10 type of, and I'm not saying you can't get into those schools. Maybe you do squeak in. There are some top 10 schools who are going to admit people with a score as low as 169 if your grades are really that good. But I just want to know that you've really exhausted your LSAT attempts, because if if you could get even a couple more points, I think you make yourself a dramatically better applicant.
Mm.
Whereas even if you did have a fantastic diversity statement to write, it's just not going to show up on the spreadsheet that they're going to use when they make their first evaluation of all of the candidates. And, if you could get 4 or 5 more LSAT points, now you're like a completely different applicant. A 174 4.0, you could literally go to Harvard, Stanford, Yale. 169 and a 4.0, probably not. I mean, you're going to be below the 25th percentile at those schools. I don't think that's probably getting it done. So I know you wrote in wanting to know about a diversity statement, but I just want to refocus your attention on the wrecking ball, which is the LSAT. If you want to just really blow the doors off of these schools, the best way to do that is to get the best LSAT you can possibly get.
Yeah, I think the most badass personal statement, resume, diversity statement you could ever write. I would rather you get a couple more LSAT points.
Yeah,
when we're talking
100%.
about these schools.
100%.
To return to the question, though, in case we didn't say this, which I don't remember, you're okay writing a non-URM diversity statement. There are definitely issues of diversity unrelated to your race or ethnicity that you can definitely write about.
First generation.
I mean, I'm
very white, but I could have written a diversity statement about growing up in farm town in the Central Valley and being the first person in my family to go to college at all. I mean, that was a, diverse experience.
Yeah. But again, if it feels like you're having to force it, listen to that. And I want to confirm that, yes, the bullshit detector quote that is attributed to Hemingway.
It is, in fact, Hemingway.
And kill your darlings, commonly attributed to Faulkner.
Oh.
So there you go.
Thank you, Anonymous, for writing in. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.